Welcome to The Perfect Balance, where this is the podcast where we discover your symptoms are not the problem, with your hosts, Eva Vennari, Dr. Heather Kneale, and Leslie Brown. Join us as we jump right into this episode. Welcome in. This is The Perfect Balance, where we talk about how your symptoms are not the problem. My name is Eva Vennari, one of your hosts. I am the founder of the Elevate Institute, where I am known for reversing burnout naturally.
And my name is Dr. Heather Kneale. I am co-founder and CEO of Global Nutritional Healing, and we offer certificate programs in mineral balancing.
And I'm Leslie Brown, creator of the Stress Relief System for High-Achieving Men.
And we're going to talk about something that is so important. We often get into this mindset where we think, if I can just flush or cleanse, I can set aside my whole health goals and I'll be set to go. So we're going to talk about, I just need to detox, flush, or cleanse, and that's going to make me healthy. Let's dig into this.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's usually just a little story about myself. Before I even started with mineral balancing many years ago, I did do a cleanse, and I thought, oh, it's a week cleanse, and all my symptoms, my gut problems, everything will just disappear. And I did it with my husband, and he actually, within a few days, he did feel better. He had more energy, but he already had good energy. So after a week, I noticed absolutely nothing, not an improvement, absolutely nothing. So I went and bought the whole system again and did it. I did it 2 more times, thinking, well, if it worked a little bit for my husband, then I must be doing something wrong. And I was doing something wrong. I was thinking that I could change my life and improve my health and all these issues I've had all of my life by doing a week cleanse.
Yeah, it takes a lifetime to get there, but we don't apply the logic. And I think there's just some really important pieces that we learn in mineral balancing that can spin this whole thing on its head and help make better decisions about what kind of flushes and cleanses, or if you continue to do flushes or cleanses.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Because with our mineral balancing program, it detox. You're continually detoxing, because I get that question. Okay, I'm doing your program, and now I need to add a detox procedure,
right?
A detox, because I'm not getting that in your program. I'm like, wait. The whole time you are detoxing, but in a natural, healthy way. We're giving your body what it needs according to your hair analysis results. And then your body improves its energy levels and starts to get rid of whatever's next in line, the priority of your body, not necessarily what we think is the priority. So maybe it's aluminum, maybe it's cadmium, maybe it's an old infection. And we hear that all the time when something comes up. They're like, wow, I haven't had this symptom for years and years, and something comes up. Well, that's your body finally finishing it out and getting rid of it.
Well, let's talk about how the body's constructed and basically how we're living through multiple layers of metabolism over time, and to help put things into perspective better, because it sounds like just from what we were talking about, it's random, and it's not. It's actually very structural. So let's talk a little bit about how our metabolism is set up. Who wants to take that?
You mean with our slow and fast metabolism? Is that what you're talking about?
No, as in like the layers of metabolism. Like one, we're not born perfect. We're born whatever's passed to us from mother to child in the womb, right? So there's that. That's a whole conversation. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, whatever mineral imbalances or metals or even things that have happened to us can be passed in the womb, so they can, because I know, like, my daughter's hair test, when I got her hair test when she was 2, she wasn't even 2 yet. And oh my goodness, her metals were super high. She had all these imbalances. And I thought, oh, she's only been breastfed. Well, what does that mean?
Yeah.
So what can that mean? That all of those imbalances, they didn't stem from her eating a bad diet. It stemmed from me, me from my mother and her imbalances, and then what I did with it. I didn't do much. I was a very stressed out person. So yeah.
I think even when you brought up, like, what really is happening in the body, a couple of things came to mind. Is that first, we as practitioners start with the understanding that our bodies by design can heal themselves. It's just all this other stuff has gotten in the way. So then when people don't understand how the body works, you hear marketing about detox, and that makes a lot of sense because they know how to press all the buttons, but they don't know how that interferes with how the body actually works. So two particular cases came to mind for me. One colleague, or actually colleague and client, was a dentist who had terrible black mold poisoning. He and his wife had a water bed, and when they lifted it up, it was full of black mold. Didn't bother his wife at all, but just about killed him and almost made him lose his dental practice. And then I had another client whose son struggled with parasites for almost 7 years, but nobody could identify the parasites. He got more and more gray and terribly ill. And it seems to me in those really emergency crisis situations, even the bad stuff is better than doing nothing at all. And mineral balancing can take a while to sort things out. So you might have to do something that's more like crisis intervention. And she did. The lady whose son had parasites, they took care of that with parasite cleanse. And then the dentist who had the black mold poisoning also went through some sort of blood detox thing with that. Now we tie this into what our knowledge of how the body works and the importance of minerals. So when the minerals are out of balance, and Eva will probably expound on this because you had your neat domino effect there. But when the minerals are out of balance, right, it leaves a door open. The systems that are supposed to protect you are no longer there. So they're broken and the door is wide open for heavy metals, which are also called toxic metals, to come in. And that's a breeding ground for all these parasites, for all sorts of things, like for the mold to grow in and for the parasites to live and all sorts of bad things to happen. All things that aren't healthy that can destroy the body to come on in and party down. But as soon as we get the minerals back in balance, it literally pushes those out. You can see those things come out on your skin. They may come out in your stool. They come out of your ears, all sorts of places. But the body literally reconstructs its systems so that it closes the door and actually kicks those things out. Don't let the door hit you on your way out of my body, bud. When your minerals are in balance. So even if somebody does a detox, it can strip them of their nutrient minerals, which actually can make them more vulnerable in the long run. Right. But it also, that's the important part of it. And like Heather was saying earlier, you get your minerals in balance. All these body systems are there to help you. It's just they're broken. And once you have a system for thinking, you have one for digestion, you have others for natural detoxification. And the skin being the largest organ on the body, you'll see a lot of detox come out through there. It can be in sweat, it'll be in skin eruptions, it can be in body odors, a lot of different things. But again, back to the question on the detox and the flushes, if you get to a point where it's crisis and you have to do it, I can understand that. My goodness, get back on the minerals and do the test and see what's actually happened to your body's ability to take care of itself.
Well, and sometimes doing a flush or a cleanse, your body's not actually strong enough to process, and you end up making stuff worse. So I like to give this really cool metaphor, if I do say so myself, about toxin displacement, because that's what I call it. It's like mineral balancing is toxic metal displacement. Think about your car, and if you blow a tire, your tire would be a nutrient mineral. That tire is blown, it's out, right? So now you've got a rim. Would you drive around with just rims, or would you put a spare tire on there? The spare tire is the same thing as a toxic metal. if you don't have the nutrient minerals your body prefers to make itself out of, if you don't have your tires in order, then it's going to use what is readily available in all of our environments. And guess what that is? Toxic metals.
Right.
Right?
Replacement parts.
Yeah.
Replacement parts.
Exactly. So you cannot just go and strip out all the toxic metals with binders and, chelation therapy. It's dangerous because this is what makes your organs vulnerable to greater attack from more toxins. You're not closing the door like we talked about. You're actually creating a vulnerability. Put a spare tire on. It's okay. The body will choose the best time and its time to displace. As you take in those nutrient minerals, it goes, pretend you've got a little voice inside your body. I call it the innate. And it goes, oh, I know where this belongs. I've got a toxic metal in that place right now. I'm going to plop that out, put the nutrient mineral in place, and then shove away the toxic metal. That is natural detox. This is the program we have built in with us. But in the meantime, like, we're born with that imperfect body. And then as we grow and develop more body, we're usually compensating because why? We're growing in the same environment that mom created us, which is toxic. So each metabolism layer has the viruses, the toxic metals, the bacteria that came in with the viruses, the chemicals that came in, the DEET, the Roundup, whatever else we've been exposed to. It's in all these layers of metabolism. You're living your whole life through this huge metabolism layer, and then you come along and you're like, oh, I think I'm going to do a flush. You're basically massaging this outer layer of metabolism. You're tickling it. You're not healing. You're not getting down deep into the core of the situation and like rebuilding your whole body. What does that? Mineral balancing. It heals away these old layers of metabolism. They fall away and you reveal a new layer underneath that has a whole nother personality, like Heather was alluding to. I thought I got rid of these things. Yeah, in the past, they're here in this other layer of metabolism. Now you've got to heal it. It comes up to heal. So that's how the body's healing. You're either healing or you're compensating and creating new layers of metabolism.
And the compensations, one thing, they creep up on you. I mean, it's not like overnight you have a ton of replacement parts, but your body does use them to make energy. It just it's not as efficient. Like Eva was saying, it's a tire that maybe said, it's only good for 25 miles or something, so your normal energy level, it's going to go down. You're still going to have some, but it's not going to be like that vibrant feeling and able to detox. And then as more compensations come along, you eventually get used to having lower and lower energy. So I wanted to mention that because compensations, why our body does it, is because your body's smart and your body is going to keep going. So it only can use what you have. So if you don't have those preferred minerals, like, many years ago, maybe in our great grandparents' day, then everybody has compensations if you live here now. Yeah. If you're listening to this, you have compensations.
Yeah, you do. And they don't realize that's, I think another hard thing is when you have lived with these compensations all your life, we've all done it. You just don't know what it's like to feel healthy. So you don't have anything to compare your current state to. You don't know how to measure that gap. And then you get all this brilliant marketing that goes out there that's designed to get your dollars one way or another. I had one colleague say one way to understand the planet is to know that it's one great big infomercial. Everyone's trying to persuade you to their point of view. And so then they sell you on this stuff and it makes sense because you think, okay, I can do that. But we don't know how to have our brain check in with our body. So part of us thinks that we're way smarter than what our body knows how to do, and learning what the body needs and how to take care of it and how it's talking to us is a whole different and important skill set to develop. But that's not where most people are right now. So grabbing a detox in a box is quick and fast, just like a 30-second commercial, and you think one and done, but it is not true. And there's so much more out there. There's so much more available to you and feeling better and what you can accomplish in life and how it equips you to live your life's purpose and gives you passion and a sense of excitement about waking up in the morning and just feeling well. And people have we don't actually, that'd be a whole good episode. What does it mean to feel well? What
Yeah.
is it?
Well, that's a good one.
We've lost sight. So then we fall into that
Mhm.
detox flesh mentality, and we're missing out on a lot, which is another thing I love about our program, which is every 3 to 6 months, you can retest your hair and actually see what's going on with your mineral levels. Once you understand that when they're in balance, you're going to feel really great. And while they're on their way to getting into balance, you're going to feel so much better. But it'll give you objective feedback rather than just simply trusting your feelings, all the way to depleted energy and sickness.
Yeah, I remember one of our first episodes, we were talking about what to expect when you get on a program. And I remember making this distinction early on, the difference between continuing, like, okay, so you get on some program, whether it's a flush or a cleanse or a diet, whatever the new greatest fad and trend is, right? You get on it, maybe you feel better for a minute, like Heather's husband, right? So he felt good. But as soon as you stop that thing, whatever it is, you backslide. And so you go back to where you were either before or worse than you were. And that's what happened to me a lot. So I had this experience of trying different diets, different flushes, eat right for your blood type, the Candida diet, there was a bunch. Coconut miracle diet, I think, was another one. I'm really
Beverly Hills diet. There's all kinds of
so all of these 20 years ago were the popular thing. And you would do that and then feel better initially, but then as soon as you stopped, because it's not sustainable to do any of those diets, you backslide. So the difference between that and then being steady and slow and giving the body that overarching true holistic healing source of give it what it needs so that it can heal itself based on your hair, not on a guesswork or what you think the body needs. Give it what it needs, it goes to work, and it makes the positive impact permanently. And this is part of what I call the healing cascades. This is my little baby, I call it that, but it's really the work, right? So your body develops 100% of the energy it needs to solve, to resolve and heal that next thing that it knows it's important, not what you think it is. This is why your symptoms are not the problem. The body's complaining. It says, I've got headaches every day, and you think, oh, I need to do something about my headaches. No, there's something probably going on in the gut that you don't know about, or copper toxicity or something that you also don't know about. And your body's just communicating with you. Your symptoms are not the problem, but you do have a problem. And so as your body says, I know I need this much energy in order to go through and heal this problem, it takes those minerals and it makes a battery pack to heal it. And that's your level one. That's your first stage. Stage two is, I'm going to start just like installing a piece of software. I'm going to start that healing process, and I'm not going to finish until I'm 100% done and I come all the way back to phase one. So phase two is to start getting rid of, like killing off or removing all of the toxic metals, identifying chemicals, bacteria, killing off viruses. It's the die off, right? If you've ever done a Candida cleanse, you know what die off is. Right? So this is phase two. Phase three is, I'm getting rid of trash bins. The body's getting rid of it. This is the detox. This is when we need modalities. This is when we've got a coffee enemas, and we could talk about those all day long because people are scared of those. Oh my God, what's a coffee enema? That sounds weird. It is until you and then phase four is rebuilding, right? This is the rebuilding phase where the body needs more rest. This is, you're 10 years old again, and your body's exponentially growing on the inside and repairing everything. And as soon as it's done, you go back to phase one. And this is constant healing. This is the phase. This is the healing cascades we were talking about. You're always in a healing phase when you're on this program, unless you're not on the program. And then guess what you're doing? You're creating more layers of metabolism. So this is the work. And that's what I discovered intuitively when I started the program, the difference between backsliding, doing things that are not sustainable, and doing the sustainable thing and realizing I have actually healed this. It's done and gone forever. That's huge.
It is. It really is. Especially things that you thought you're going to have to live with.
I remember back,
go ahead. Asthma, I was born with it. I was on tons of medications, became a respiratory therapist because of it, because the only time I felt good was in a hospital bed getting a breathing treatment. I spent many emergency visits a year. I wasn't allowed to go to school at times a year. I had to stay home. never got to do Halloween, hardly ever, because it was during
Let's
that
send her some
time where,
candy, Leslie. We gotta send her some.
yes,
Yeah, we gotta get a care
give
package
me some
together.
candy. Wait, has to be, no sugar and just kidding.
Made with honey and
I'm just
maple
kidding.
syrup.
I'm just
How's
kidding.
that? Yeah.
But, to be able to get on this program and to be able, and I worked with my doctor and I was able, pretty much took me off of everything, because you don't even show the inflammation. You're not showing anything on your x-rays. You're not having any problems. So, and it took a little while, but I mean, it's worth it. I had it all my life, so it was worth it.
We'd all mentioned about not overriding the body's ability to decide for itself what needs to be healed, rather than us telling it. And even when you mentioned that, it came to mind when I first started the program. I had horrible migraine headaches.
Yeah,
I
me
mean, if
too.
the weather would change, I'd have to pull over the
Yeah.
side of the road and pass out for a while because I couldn't stand the pain, right? One of my first symptoms, and I'd eat, I don't know, aspirin, anything that I thought would kill the pain, I'd eat it. Of course, it didn't help. Coffee by the tons. But once I got on the program, one of the first things to come out of my body was a rash on the calves of both legs.
Oh,
Oh,
And
interesting.
the headaches started to get lessened.
Oh,
And then one at the big rash at the base of my spine. I thought I burnt myself in the near infrared sauna, which we can talk about that later too. But all that did was it helped it surface and naturally detoxify. Well, I didn't have any more idea than a man in the moon that those things needed to come out of my body. I could have never told my body what to do, right?
yeah.
And it's like I had to learn to trust it. So now I do, I have a good relationship with my body. I don't fight it like I used to, but it takes a while to learn how to do that and trust that it will decide the proper order.
Yeah.
right. That'd be another good talk, is healing reactions, because
Yeah.
that's a really good one, because I
That-
thought that was fake and phony.
Until you live it.
Yeah.
Another
That and I'm teaching the use of pendulum. So like we have this idea of what we think is going on in the body, but we're not sure. And I think the ego within, which we're not meant to kill, and that's a whole nother conversation, and we're meant to take it along with us and mature it, right? So the ego is like, I want to know what's going on. And so we can learn how to use pendulum to dig into that innate I was talking about. And you can find out, am I going through a healing reaction? Do I need more water? Do I need to change my supplements? You can find out that stuff by tuning into your body and work through the healing reactions, because they are real. We're
We're gonna have a talk, because I'm sure there's some skeptics out there, and I was one of them.
Well, and detox in a box would never do what we've just been talking about.
No.
It doesn't get there.
No.
You may feel better for a while. And I'm also I know I've mentioned this before, but one time when I felt my best, I was trying some woo-woo thing. And when I felt my best, I'd lost weight. I felt sassy. I had energy. And I went to the doctor to go say, I don't need you anymore. And the first thing she said was, you're getting ready to go into multiple organ shutdown. And what's happening is your body's giving you all your energy to try and sustain life, which is why you feel so well. Okay.
Yeah.
So I couldn't necessarily trust my body. And you think about many people on their deathbed will rally 24 to 48 hours before they're getting ready to go, because they want to say goodbye to their loved ones, and all that energy gives them that. So going by how you feel, that can mean
always
different things, which doesn't necessarily mean you're getting better. And that's very important to say. And when I say detox in a box, that's a phrase that we kind of use among ourselves, but it really literally means what package you might buy from the shelf at a pharmaceutical branch of the grocery store you go to, or what what might be recommended to you. But I just think those are important points to bring up.
It
really comes down to the who do you listen to.
Yeah.
And when you, like, we have Thanksgiving coming up here pretty soon, and we're going to be sitting down with Sally Sue, our cousin, who is all into health and fitness, and she's going to say, I think you should take XYZ as a supplement because it's good for everybody. How do you know that? I mean, the detox in a box and the recommendation from your relative is not based in science. It may have
goes
been
back to marketing too, like Leslie was saying too. There's some good marketing out there.
Yeah, really good. It sets on our fears that we're not doing what we need to, or if we do this, then all will be well. Yeah, just put your money where your mouth is, get a hair test and see for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you want to experiment too, that's another thing. I've got clients who want to experiment. You're thinking people go ahead and experiment, but test.
Yeah.
And gain counsel from people who have been there before, so you can equip yourself and build an awareness that you might not have had before and really understand what's going on in your body. Big time important.
Yeah. Yeah, we
And
don't
if this is, oh, go ahead. I was just going to say, if this is all new to you, this information, please don't feel bad.
Right.
Because I mean, I know I came from a place of really, I didn't believe in any of, it's not that I didn't believe it, I was never exposed to it. So, when I started having my health fail, which I was already sickly, but it just started getting worse and worse, and I couldn't compensate anymore, then I had to look at other avenues. And I will tell you, it was a rude awakening of the things I was not doing correctly. There was many of them. And so if this is a whole new thinking mindset for you, great. I'm so happy you found us, but, and do not feel bad about it. I know I came from that, just not knowing. I
Not
never
your
heard
fault.
this.
It's not
Yeah.
your fault. We haven't been taught this stuff. And you do have to build a bridge. If this is the road you're used to traveling, and this is the one you're hearing about now, you have to build a pathway to be able to get over there. And I've described it. Some people start to get a little spooked out when you have different physical reactions. You just have to you're building a new road of thought. And I think of it literally as road building. For a little while, there's a little dust and you can build a road. Then you run into granite. And you got to blast that all to smithereens, let the dust settle, and then move forward with your new road of thought, because this one is a well-worn rut and you're trying to develop a new one that really protects you and takes care of you. So yeah, definitely we're almost decades ahead of wherever you guys are who are listening. And we just want to help you. We just want to reach out our hands to you and bring you down that same road. No shame, no embarrassment, and it is not your fault.
You bring up
Exactly.
such a good point, and doing something that is different than you've ever done before is going to feel uncomfortable. And that's why it's so important to not do this on your own. I can't tell you, in the past, my business used to bring in people who'd say, how much for a hair test? What are you going to do with it?
Right.
You need someone who knows how to interpret it, analyze it, and apply it to your specific needs and guide you on your personal journey. Because why? We are as unique as our thumbprint. Everybody's journey is different. How the body works, that's everybody's the same. We're all humans. We all have that, we all have one of these.
Right.
I had somebody ask me in a presentation one day, I was talking about the sauna therapy and nice, is really good, especially for detoxing. And I brought up copper toxicity. And she said, how do you know my body doesn't need more copper than yours?
Good question.
Easy question. It's an easy answer though. Get hair tested. That's pretty simple.
Well, but she meant as an ideal state.
Oh,
yeah. And I says, because you have a human body that is designed with DNA instruction that tells us how to use it, when to use it, how much to use.
right.
And that's it.
Exactly. And I haven't really found anybody. I mean, I go to talks all the time with different doctors all over the world. I love to learn. I love to learn. And I still walk away. I do get some nuggets, and I think, there's a lot of great information out there, but I haven't found anybody that has even come close to Dr. Pollack's research and mineral relationships. No one has figured it out. Not like he has.
They're talking always about what's too high, what's too low, what's lacking, what's, and I'm like, no, it's the relationships that matter.
It's
That's
the relationships.
big deal. Yeah.
Yep. They don't talk about that, or it's a blanket. Everybody needs this. Everybody needs that. But how do you know? Because you don't.
Yeah.
You don't know.
You don't, and that's not how you change the environment of the body. I love metaphors. You know this. You all are learning this as you're listening and watching. So it's like when a body is experiencing symptoms, I think of it as your internal environment is a swamp. Okay, and your swamp then has the environment to grow. Guess what? Symptoms, which look like moss. You can't get into a little boat. You can, but doing what you're talking about, like allopathic chasing down and killing symptoms, is getting into a little boat and cutting out all of the moss everywhere. And then at the end of the day, you go, look, no more moss. I must be healthy now. And that's not how. It's still swamp.
Right.
What we need to do is change the whole internal environment to, like, I like to say, like a meadow. Think of the green grass and the sun is shining and you hear the little birds in the background, the butterflies are doing this, and you see a babbling brook and that's an ecosystem that's healthy, right? That's what we're looking for.
Oh, that's a
You know,
great one.
that concept too of detoxes and flushes and getting all that stuff out it ties into that one and done mentality, which is just not the case. And when you mention the relationship of the minerals, which is true, right? That's a very important concept. It's one relationship can throw the other, one mineral can throw the others completely out of balance. But we are in relationship with our environment. And we know toxic metals in the environment aren't going down. The air is not getting cleaner. The water's not getting more pristine. The food isn't getting closer to the earth unless you're making really extreme measures to be able to go find good farmers.
Yeah.
It's just not happening. So our bodies are constantly changing with the environment. And if you have a marriage or a death or a birth or, move, just about anything can start to, it uses different minerals. So you want to be able to stay on top of that and be able to feed your body or supply your body with what it needs. But we are in relationship with the environment, and those minerals are what need to be adjusted to accommodate that relationship.
Just getting a bruise. Dr. Pollock used to talk about just getting a bruise can deplete, your storage of zinc for that day. I mean, that's a bruise. I mean, we have to replenish it every day, in a different way. But if that a bruise can do that, then
what about life's
what about all the, the things you just mentioned?
Right.
That's going to be a big distress on your mineral system.
You're reminding, and we're going to wrap up, but you're reminding me of one of my clients who was erroneously told by her massage therapist. She said, "Oh, I see a bunch of bruises in the back of your calves. That means iron deficiency." So you have, again, who do you listen to? Is she trained in mineral balancing? No. So I have to go back to my client who's telling me this on a video, on an audio this morning, and let her know, no, that's a zinc imbalance because you're copper toxic. Let's talk about this instead. So anyways, yeah, it's really about the core, the relationships of issues. It's how your body's constructed, how we're built in with these natural processes of healing that are like programs on a computer. We just have to know how to hit run. And that's what we're here to help you do. So,
right. Exactly.
Well, all right. This has been I think we could probably do a whole another episode on just this.
Yeah.
But to wrap this for today, let us know what kind of fads and trends and things that you've tried so far, why they haven't worked for you. We can discuss those too. So put those in the notes. But for now, this has been The Perfect Balance. My name is Eva Vennari. We are talking about always your symptoms are not the problem.
And I'm Dr. Heather Kneale from Global Nutritional Healing.
And Leslie Brown, creator of the stress relief system for high achieving men. And be sure and ask your questions, you guys. That's how we stay in touch.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right, we'll see you next time.